So, Antonio Brown just got released today by the Oakland Raiders after saying, release me on Instagram. But before we get to that stuff, dude, HD, where did it all begin?
So we were talking about it before a couple of videos ago when Antonio Brown in the offseason, he got fined for missing practices in August.
For the helmet stuff, eh?
He got fined $40,000 for missing one practice, and then he got fined I think another 15 grand for not participating in another team exercise. And then this all culminated in him and Mayock getting in some sort of yelling match, some sort of disagreement, where
He called him
Antonio Brown supposedly called him a cracker. A
and then he
cracker.
threw,
And he,
and
and
then he,
yeah, and he kicked the ball and said, "Fine me for that."
that's hilarious,
And I
dude.
guess they did because they fined him $200,000 for misconduct.
And then eventually, which took away his guaranteed money,
Yeah,
and they want,
that voided $29 million worth of guaranteed money.
and they wanted to pay him week to week, which wouldn't fly with Antonio Brown. He's just like, release me. But
Just to start it
what?
off though, he posted on Instagram today from yeah, just on Instagram he posted, "You are gonna piss a lot of people off when you start doing what's best for you. And that's fine. I've worked my whole life to prove that the system is blind to see talent like mine. Now that everyone sees it, they want me to confirm to the system that has failed me all those years. I'm not mad at anyone. I'm just asking for the freedom to prove them all wrong. Release me at Raiders, no more." How do you feel about that? What do you think about what he just said?
Uh,
Do you think he's a victim? I feel like he's playing himself out to be a victim.
yeah, he's definitely playing himself to be the victim. He's definitely not a victim. When you're part of an organization, like he's part of a team, right? And he's making about himself rather than being part of a team. But especially like making like missing out on activities and practices. But my question is like, so we talked about this last video too. If he apologizes, do we move forward from it? Because I really thought they would, but seems like and it seems like they did a certain point where Gruden said no, Antonio Brown will play on Monday, but now this throw him with these fines. Do you think it's because he released that video on Instagram
Right.
of those
Yeah, he released
private?
a video of a private phone call with his head coach, Gruden, and
Yeah. So
I
do you
I,
think that?
I wouldn't be
So you think?
surprised if that helped or if that pushed them towards fining him the $200,000, because that
Yeah.
fine also helped. That whole misconduct helped void his contract in the first place, because there's a clause that says if anytime the player does not report to the club, which he didn't, which he with the August practices that he missed, he did not
Yeah.
report to the club. Does not practice or play with the club, which he checks that off as well. Leaves club without prior written approval, then player shall be in default and the skill, injury, and cap guarantee shall be null and void. So I wouldn't be surprised if all those factors culminated in them exercising their right to void all those guarantees. That's $30 million gone down the drain.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense because like you don't want to be like stuck with Antonio Brown, right? You don't want to be like right. You don't want to give him the leverage, right? If you
Right.
don't void all those contracts for like who knows how many seasons.
And Antonio Brown said himself, he's like, they took away my guarantees, and there's no way I play after they took that and made my contract week to week. So don't expect him to play. And then he gets released shortly after that.
Yeah, but I mean, if it has something to do with the video, like for me that makes sense, right? Like you can't be recording private conversations, but especially with the head coach. But
Right.
what I'm thinking is like if it has nothing to do with that and only has to do with the missing the practices, like why now? Why the day before the season starts, right? Like I thought they'd move on after apologizing. At the talent like Antonio Brown, you brought him over, you traded draft picks.
I thought the whole time that if he apologized, I still would not have let him play if he apologized, in my opinion. Because what kind of precedent does that set? Especially for a guy like Antonio Brown, who does not want to conform, does not want to have any respect for authority, for his teammates, for his organization, for any of that. So this whole time I was thinking, just having they said that he gave an emotional apology, which to me was BS, right? Like Antonio Brown giving an emotional apology and they're just all okay after that. I'm not surprised that it played out this way, the way that it did. Literally 24 hours later, after his emotional apology, he's released from the team. I kind of half expected it to go this in this route. Not that he'd be released, but that he wouldn't be playing.
So, moving forward, do you think there's any other teams that will be looking towards signing Brown? Like, or do you think his past behavior
Everyone,
is good?
it seems everyone has this idea that the Patriots are gonna get in on this.
I mean, they have cap space. I mean, like I was looking at the odds right now from Sportsline. The Patriots are ahead of everyone
Who are the
to sign
top
him.
teams in terms of betting odds?
So we're looking at Patriots at 2-1, 49ers 5-1, Packers 6-1, Cardinals 7-1, and Seahawks 9-1. Those are the top five.
Can,
I mean,
can,
I could see Seahawks.
can you
Sorry.
can you imagine Antonio Brown with the Patriots? That would be. If anyone can take control of this guy, it'd probably be Belichick.
The thing is, like recording. See, like Belichick gave what's his name, Josh Gordon, a chance, right? Like he had personal issues with like past substance abuse and whatnot with his personal life, but recording private conversations with the coach and like not showing up to practice will like never fly with Belichick. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's not something I don't know. Like I'd be surprised if to be honest, Patriots would sign Antonio Brown after all those. But like the thing is, with the Patriots is like always they've always had like a superstar receiver. Like they've had Moss, they've had Wes Welker, like even Gronk's tight end. He did put up wide receiver numbers, and now he's retired. Now they're gonna bring in Antonio Brown.
Now that it's definitely clear he didn't play a single game, he's a risk. He's a big risk. How much do you think he gets paid on his next contract?
Uh, Annually, like I don't think anywhere close to 70. Like if I was a team, I would sign him on a year-to-year basis. Um, like I just don't. I wouldn't lock up Antonio Brown for a long term. But if I were to lock him up for a year, maybe 15, 12 to 15 mil. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
And this is the same day shortly after that this happened. Julio Jones got signed for 3 years, 66 million.
yeah. The thing is, like, I still think Antonio Brown is still the best wide receiver in the world right now. But
And just look at
uh,
how far he's fallen in the last 24 hours.
yeah, I think you sign Brown on a short-term deal, like a one-year deal for like not a lot of money. Like, let him prove that he still is like the best player in the world. He still can get his act together, and then like you just give him a long-term contract. But right now, I don't think he's showed he hasn't earned a long term contract with what's gone down with the Steelers and now the Oakland Raiders. But in terms of the other odds, do you see the any of the other teams picking up Antonio Brown?
I'm not so sure. Honestly, he seems like such a risk that in my eyes it just seems that the only one who can control this savage monster is and I say savage as in a what's the
Be,
word?
it,
In like a team context that Bill
it's just
Belichick
behavioral. Yeah, Bill Belichick.
might
I
be the
hope he
only
gets
one
his
that can
act together.
control him.
Yeah.
But even then, who knows with this guy? His ego is so big that maybe there's no fit in the league for him anymore. He has skill, definitely has skill, but if he's not professional, what's the use, right? He didn't play a single game with the Raiders.
How many more chances does he get? Let's just say if he goes to the Patriots and Bill Belichick
I think
releases
he's
him.
had enough already, but I don't know. It
Yeah.
seems that players in the NFL can just get away with whatever they want because some team is desperate enough or some team will be willing to take some sort of risk. But at what point at what point is it not worth it anymore?
See, not a lot of team did with Johnny Manziel,
Right.
but and then like even when he came to the CFL, he was cut after that too. But With Antonio Brown, I think I agree though. He's so talented that like who would not want him on his team? There'll always be like a bottom feeding team that will definitely give have will love to have a player like him.
I see a tweet right now that this guy's saying that no part of sign with the Patriots for pennies makes sense given what we know about Antonio Brown's personality. He's not about the team, he's not about winning. He's not about to check his ego or his social media accounts.
That's exactly it. That's actually twice he's released. Like first he released stuff in the locker room with Tomlin with the
Right.
Steelers, and then he now the private conversation over the phone with Gruden. So like he's shown history of like leaking stuff from the coach from the team. So
Everyone is saying that everyone is mentioning CTE now with Antonio Brown. How do you feel about that? Like we touched up on that as well. Could it just be
um,
that he's just that's just his personality? He's just that kind of guy. That is not some sort of underlying thing going on.
uh, like I said, it's like so hard to jump to conclusions right now. Like, we have never had like anyone from like any of the team doctors to come up and say anything, or do you know what I mean? Like it's too hard of a conclusion.
This is a developing story too. There's still likely in the later hours of the day more information that'll come out.
Yeah, I mean he hasn't. I think 4 p.m. Uh, tonight he's allowed to sign with any team, and I'm pretty sure some teams will hop on it right away. But he won't be able to play this week,
That's
but he can play as soon as week two.
that's Eastern or is that Pacific time?
I think that's Pacific
All right, then
because
I guess we'll probably tune in around then just to check out what's going on.
yeah. All right, well, that does it for this video.